Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing fishing game thingy, which I'm sure you already know. Here I just have a quick timeline of what we're going to be learning or doing. So first we're going to do a main menu that goes to another screen, add a simple panel for background, and then we're going to add fishing assets, which I will talk about later. We're going to add Fisherman, and then we're going to add fishies with that move, and then we're going to also add a hook if we have time. I'm not sure how long this will take, but first, to get started, we're going to make a new project. I have my reference project right there, but you're going to click new project, and we're going to browse. I'm going to make it on desktop, and then I'm going to select folder. I'm going to call this Fishing Legends YouTube. And you can call it whatever you want. If you create folder, it'll create a folder for that. I'm going to do OpenGL ES 2.0. The big difference between the two is just, obviously you can read it and it just says low quality. 2.0 is very good for Android and low quality games, I guess. And this is going to be pretty low quality games. It's not going to need like 3D rendering or anything. So I'm going to do 2D, and it opened on my other screen, so I'm going to drag it over. And this is what you should have. You have a completely fresh project with absolutely nothing. So we're going to go to 2D. We're going to create a 2D scene. Right. And this is going to be our main menu. So first, we're just going to make main menu, and we're going to save it in the main folder. All right, and now if we launch it, it's going to ask us to select which one, which scene. You can also do that here, I believe, or not. I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of ways to reset the scene that you launch first. So that's fine. This is going to be our main menu. And super quick, we're just going to add a label as the background. Not a label, sorry. Nope. We're going to add a panel. And then going to make this blue. And to do that, as you saw, go theme overrides, styles. There's only one type of style, which is the panel. If you click it, there's a few options. We have new style box flat. That's the one I'm going to choose. And then if I click it again, it'll reset to the default. Go to blue and select blue. Now I'm going to add a button. There's a few different kind of buttons. We have touchscreen. This is mostly for Android. We're not going to touch that. There's texture button, which if you have your own texture button, you can add that as well. We are going to use the regular button. So this is just a simple button with text and icon. So that's going to be pretty useful. We're going to type in play. I'm going to real quick just import the assets that I need for this project, because I will link these down below in your in the description down below. So go check out the description. I will link that there. You will have to buy it, or not buy it, get it from itch.io. I can't actually link it directly using a hyperlink or download link. I don't have permission from the people, but you can download it from them and maybe check out their other stuff if you want. Trying to see. I'm just going to move this screen over just a bit. There we go. Okay, next up, we are going to go to the fishing dock. So I'm going to copy that. Now we want to go to a scene. So to do that, we need to actually make the scene. So I'm going to capitalize it. Fishing dock. And we're going to save this. And I'm going to leave this in my main folder as well. And now what I can do is I'm going to add a script to the main menu. To do that, you click the little script icon. This will pop up. There's a built-in script, and there's also non-built-in. So built-in is a script that's built in, but it has its downsides, which I'll explain in a second. You can also read this, some limitations and can't be used, whatever. I usually like to I actually use both, but we are going to use non-built-in. We're just going to delete all this code. We're going to go to our button. Say this is the play button, and we're going to go to node on the top right, click pressed, connect it to the main menu script. So whenever you have a signal that you connect to something, you have to send that signal to a script. So I can't connect it to the button. It has to go to the main menu. I clicked a few many times and it connected automatically. But yeah, so as you can see in our main menu.gd script, this is where our play button has been connected to. So for example, I can say print play. I have to put it as a string. So now if I press play, you can see play down here. I can press it a few times. And there you go. Now we have a working button that does something. But what I want to do is I want to move to a new scene. And to do that, all I have to do is, let me double check I'm doing this right. Yeah, it is. It's get tree and then change scene. And then we get a few scenes, and I'm going to do that one. And this will allow us to change to the fishing dock scene, which we don't have anything in. But there we go. Now we have a working main menu that goes into our fishing dock. All right, next up, what do we want to do? Add simple panel and then add some fishing assets. I've already added the fishing assets, but I'm going to add the panel now. Whenever you add a new node, you have to go over here, add new node and panel. And then we can create a node on the left of things that I've already created. So I've already created a panel recently, and so I'm just going to make a new one. All right, I'm going to make it a different color. So this is where I want you guys to change the color. So pause the video, change the color to whatever you want, and then I'll also do that. So I'm expecting you unpaused it, and I'm going to change it. And that's how you do it. Okay, next up, we have the fishing assets. So we're going to take a look in there and see what's in there. We have Fisherman, which I'm going to be using. We have some objects, so grass, piers. I'm going to be using this guy. Where is it actually? We're going to be using some of these icons actually. If you have this asset pack, what you can do is you can go into the play button. This is what I like to do. I like to add this as the icon. It looks kind of funky that way. So I'm going to try to center it. You can use this snap guy on the top. It says use grid snap, shift G. I actually didn't know that snip G. You can do snip G. You can also do smart snap. So this could help you center it. If you have this off, maybe it's a bit hard to snap it because the screen is kind of big, which I'm actually going to fix in a second. Okay. Next up, I want to add. All right, just checking my reference real quick. We're going to add the player. Right, we've added the assets. Now we're going to add the fisherman. So to add the fisherman, pretty simple. We're going to actually create a new node, and I like to do this for a reason, which I'll go into in a second. But if I search up collision, you'll find kinematic body, rigid body, static body, and then the collision shapes. So kinematic is a moving object or a moving body. Rigid body is a body that's controlled. It's also a moving body, but it's controlled more by the physics system. This is created or it's moved by whatever you want. Now a static body is just static. It doesn't move ever. And then we're going to add that as our main node. And we're going to have the little square here. We're going to have that as the collision shape for our player. So now you can see this little warning sign because we don't have a shape for our player. So if I go into the shape on the top right, I'm going to give it a little rectangle shape. Now we want to add a animation for the player. So there's a few different animations. We're going to go through most of them, But for the player, I want to use the animated sprite because that is what we have. So if you go into here, so I'm going to reset. Once you've created an animated sprite, the frames is empty. We want to make a new sprite frame. So we click that and can rename this guy to idle. And then I'll also have one that says hook. And I'll also have one that says fishing. Fishing, there we go. All right, and then we're gonna save this guy as the player scene. And I'm going to add him, I'm gonna make a new folder and call it fishing objects. So any sort of object that I make, I'm gonna put in here. All right, now we have our player saved. I'm gonna rename it to player. Go into animated sprite. If I click this little box here, it says add frames from sprite sheet, click it, go into fishing sprites or assets. I'm going to go into Fisherman, and obviously you can read them and find the one that says idle. Right? Am I even on the one? I am not. I'm on the one that says fishing. So I'm going to find the one that says fishing instead. Fish, here we go. So Fisherman fish. And if you zoom in by control and pressing control and then zooming in, you'll be able to see it a bit clearly. And then we can kind of edit it so that way we have all the frames I need. And so I can just select each one, or I can use the thing on the little top right and add all 4 frames. And now if I want to test it, I can go on the top right and play it. And I'll leave that on because I'm going to actually be playing the idle one in a second. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for the rest. And if you want, you can feel free to pause the video and do the rest on your own, just so you can see if you actually know how to do it now. And I'm going to do the hook, Fisherman hook. This is like reeling in the fish. 6 frames. Very cool. All right, and I'm going to leave it on 5 FPS for all of them. I think that's not a bad one, just because there aren't very many frames for this. So it looks slightly clunky, but it's good enough. So you can actually play around with it if you want. So you can do like 10, and then I can play the hook animation, and it's much faster. But I'm going to keep it at 5 for a reason, because later on we're going to be using it so that it kind of looks like you're actually reeling in the hook. All right, next on our little to-do list, we're going to add fishies that actually move. Before we do that, actually, I'm going to add my player. So if I go find it, I'm going to find my player in the fishing objects. I'm going to add him, and there he is. All right, let's add the fishies now. I am at 13 minutes. Okay, I'll try to speed up it just a bit so I don't take up too much time. All right, now I want you to guess which collision body that we're actually going to be using for the fish. Now keep in mind the fish will be moving, so we want the fish to move across the screen, right? So it's going to be going from this side, and it's going to be swimming, boop, 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 all the way to the other side. So take a guess at which one we're going to use, and I want you to try to set it up. So pause the video, set it up, unpause. I'm going to assume you unpause now, and it is the kinematic body. So that's the one we're going to use. You could have used rigid body, I believe, but I'm going to use kinematic. However, static might not work so well. So we're going to add kinematic body, collision body. Let me just pull up my reference so I know I'm doing everything right. Yeah. And then I'm going to make a collision shape. Let's scroll in. And now I want you to try to set up the fish. So I'm going to give you a hint. We have fish in, I think it's in the icons. No, it's not in the icons. It's in the objects and then catch. So these are your fish. There's 2 frames. I want you to guess how to do that. So I'll pause the video, do it, unpause. All right, I assume you unpaused, and you're right, is the animated sprite. So we make it a new animated sprite. We make one, and I'm not sure why this happens actually, This happened to me yesterday too, but I'm gonna, which fish I'm gonna do? Let's do shark first. I'm going to close this. I'm gonna save this, close this, and then I'm going to open this again. And there we go. Okay. So if that happens where the animation showed the player one and not the new one that you made, just close it and then open it again. I'm not sure why that was happening. I feel like it's a bug. But now I get the shark. This is the big shark. I'm going to use this one. And control zoom in and just adjust it so that you have the right number of frames. And now if I just play it, oops, little sharky. And I'm going to move this to the front and this to the front, sorry. And I'm going to do this. And now we're going to actually move the object. So I'm going to create a general script for all the fishes. All the fishes that we make will have the same script. So I'm going to call it fishy script. So fishies.gd. And in this guy, all we're going to do is we're going to uncomment this, and delete the rest. All right. And I'll show you how to do this one. So self position dot x plus equals speed times delta. So process is something that gets called every elapsed time. I'm actually not sure how often it is per second, but yeah, it's very slow technically, delta. Now we actually have to make speed because speed was never given. But I'm going to do export variable speed equals, let's say 50. And now, actually, let's say 10. Now, if I go over here, we have script variables and speed because I exported the variable. That's how the export works. Now I'm going to enter 50 just for reference or just to make it faster. Now if I play, my shark moves. Now we're going to add some fish to our main scene. And to organize this a little better, we're going to add something called Y-sort. Y-sort is sort all children nodes based on their Y positions. So it's just a good way of sorting all your objects that are actually moving and not moving, just like the player. And I'm going to add a fishy and add the shark. And what you can do is you can click the shark and Control D, and it'll duplicate a few times. And now we have a bunch of moving sharks, and they all move at the same speed. However, what you can do is edit them. So maybe I want this one to be 55, this one to be 25, 35 or 36, I guess, maybe 70. And we'll keep those one at 50. Now, if I launch again, they move at different speeds because I exported the speed. And yeah, so this is our beginning of our project. Let's actually do something else that I kind of forgot. I want you to go into project settings. We're going to go into the search bar, search up a window. We're going to display window. We're going to edit the size. So the size is just the size of the screen that we're on. And I'm going to change it to 512 and 300. So it's going to be exactly half. We're also going to change or turn off VSync. And it's going to have to make us restart, which is fine. But I'm also going to make this into 2D and keep. And I'm going to save and restart. And I'm going to bring this over here. And now our screen is much smaller. So if I launch, boom. Now our player is a bit more seeable. And this line over here on the, you can kind of see it. It's right there. That's the screen that we have. I'll be adding a camera in the next video. In the next video, we'll be adding a lot more. We'll be adding a hook because I want to end the video now, so I'm not going to do that right now. But I'm going to add hooks. I'm going to add a few more things. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If not, give me some feedback. Can't see my thumb. Let me know how I did. I really tried to make it so that you learn, but also try to go fast, just so I'm not taking up so much time that the video is boring. Let me know if you want to learn more about the engine. If you guys are already familiar with it. I don't know who are watching my videos. Not many people are, but if you actually are and you watch the entire thing, let me know. Thanks. And like the video if you did like it. Forgot about that.